Instagram people, hello, how you doing? And yeah, today's a special day, isn't it? Oh my God, Steve Gadd, 76 today, which is amazing. And as many of you know, I'm the biggest Steve Gadd fan in the world. I think probably everyone says that, to be honest, because he's our hero, you know. And I think it's quite funny as the Drumhangs Instagram grows. Um, you see a bit of trolling going on. I mean, today we've hit 12,500 followers on Drumhangs Instagram, which is a lot, you know. And yeah, so I remember the first ever post, I think it was a Nate Smith post when we did the Nate Smith event on the 9th of May. And yeah, ever since then it's been growing and growing, and we managed to support many of the world's greatest drummers throughout the pandemic with actual paid work as well, which I was very pleased about. And yeah, more on that later maybe. But tonight we're here to celebrate Steve Gadd, and you can watch this on our YouTube channel. Some of you are watching on there, some of you watch on our Facebook channel, which is great, and it's great to see you wherever you want to watch us. So I've got 2 cameras set up. I wish Instagram would do restream so we could go through there, but it's just one of those things. Anyway, so yeah, tomorrow, by the way, I'll be chatting with Ralph Roll, who plays with Chic, and I'm doing a live chat with him at 5 p.m. and we'll do the same kind of thing here. I'll probably put it live on Instagram, but he won't be with me on Instagram, but he'll be on our YouTube channel and our Facebook, and we'll publish it on our podcast as well. And if you don't follow the Drumhangs podcast, check us out on Podbean, because yeah, we're going to have some great guests on there soon, and I'll be recounting some of the stories, and that's what I'm going to be doing tonight. So about Steve Gadd. So yes, got a couple of great stories which will show why he's the greatest ever drummer to have lived, and it's not just about playing the drums, you know. It's about humility, and it's about you know, just serving the music, you know, which gets lost a lot these days, unfortunately. But anyway, so join me tomorrow with Ralph Roll at 5 p.m, which is going to be a lot of fun. So I've never met him before, and but I love Chic, I love Noel Rogers, and like we all do. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So join us at 5 p.m. So tonight, let's talk about Steve Gadd. I've got a couple of stories which I just want to share, as it's his birthday. And yeah, and he means an awful lot to me, as most of you will know. And if you follow my Spotify playlists, I've got quite a few playlists with drummers on there. I've got a Steve Gadd one, and I think it's like, oh, it's hours and hours long, this thing, but there's about 1,600 tracks on there, and they're all fantastic. I listen to it, you know, all the time, you know, and it's got quite a few followers, so check that out, because there's lots of Gadd on there and stuff you may not have heard. I really like listening to early 70s Gadd, and there's a great album with O'Donnell Levy, who's a guitarist. And it's kind of like a sort of big band, more like an orchestral sort of album, really, and it's called Bad Simba, and you should check that out. And it's 1973, so Gadd's, you know, probably quite new on the studio scene by then, but there's some heavies in the group, and it's a great record, you know, so check that out. It's pretty early stuff, and there's a whole host of other stuff on there. But anyway, let's get on to a couple of Steve Gadd stories, which yeah, I'm pleased to kind of tell you about, because I mean, he's been at Drumhangs twice in the pandemic, and the first time it was April 2020, or maybe June 2020, he came with us. And you know, and I was so pleased to have him with us at Drumhangs. And I remember, you know, we went into the hang, and he's just in his garage with this block of wood, playing with his sticks on this block of wood. It's just out this world. And you know, all the world's greatest drummers came along to that. You know, who's who of drummers was there. We had about, you know, I think it was over about 200 people there with us on that day. And yeah, it was something really special. I remember just grinning ear to ear the whole day, and those of you who were there with us will remember that day, because it was really special, especially when, you know, Vinnie Colaiuta and Steve Gadd are talking about traditional grip, and you know, the struggles they've had with grip and all this kind of thing. It was immense, to be honest. So yeah, that was a great day, but I'm not going to talk about that tonight, really. the first story I want to share with you was I was lucky enough to promote a gig with the Bleischer Hemmer Gadd group, which is a trio that Steve plays with, and there's Michael Bleischer on the saxophone, and Dan Hemmer plays the organ, and also Eddie Yarl, who's a great guy. Eddie, if you're watching, hi. He plays percussion, and he's a great drummer too in the group. So I organised this gig in Southampton, and it was sold out. It was at the Turner Sims, and it was a fantastic evening. I've organised a lot of events over the years with many great drummers, and this was something very special because of, I'd seen Gadd play a lot, I'd been to see him a lot, but I'd never got to really kind of interact with him. And I thought, well, organising this gig, this is going to be great because I can, hang around and geek out of it, as you would. It was a once in a lifetime opportunity, really. So we did the gig with him and the trio. But what the main story from the gig, which I want to get into, was that they were playing. I mean, Southampton. If you're in the UK, Southampton is on the south coast of the country. For those of you guys who don't know it, I don't live in Southampton. I'm in Surrey, which is just quite near London, I guess, just outside London on the counties there. But Southampton's right on the coast, and basically the week of the tour was a 1-week tour, and the band had been to Scotland, and they'd been to Ireland, and then they'd been to London for 2 nights, and I caught them in London as well at the Pizza Express, where I've seen some incredible gigs before. After the London gig, they went back up to Nottingham, and bear in mind they're in a van. It's just a van with all the gear, old school kind of vibe, really. So they go to Nottingham, and then they're due to be in Southampton the next day. Now, Nottingham from Southampton is probably about 5 hours in the van. But on the day of the gig, it was torrential rain. There was a lot of flooding around the sort of Nottingham area. And so the band were really late, and they were due to be at the venue, which was a lovely venue, Turner Sims. If you don't know, in Southampton, it's a great sort of concert hall. Sounds great in there. I've put on a few things there, helped promote a few things there before. And the band were due to be there at 3:00, but I think the van turned up at like 4:15 or something like that. And so they'd had a hell of a journey. It was a hell of a tour, with this sort of traveling around. And Michael Bleischer called me when they were about half an hour away, and he said, "Hey, Russ, can Steve jump in your car, and then you take him to the hotel, let him get changed, and then bring him back for the sound check?" And I said, "Yeah, Michael, absolutely, no problem at all." So the van pulled up. I was waiting for him at the corner of the road because I thought we can speed off and go to the hotel. And the van pulled up, and Steve just sort of leapt out of the van. I was, wow, he's just he jumped right out of the van. I was like, he's up for it. This is great. And he said, "So we'll go to the hotel." I was like, yeah. So we jumped in the car, and I was really nervous. I said, sort of bit of hero worship, but he's really there's a definite sense of reverence when he's around for me. Wow, and incredible. But so he's in the car with me. Now we go to the hotel and we check him in, and then he goes upstairs, gets changed. He comes straight back down, and then we go straight back to the concert hall. And now at the concert hall, everyone's setting up. By this time, it's like 5:00. The gig was due to start at like, I don't know, 7:30, 7:45, something like that. So they're quickly trying to do a sound check. The sound check's kind of overrunning. And Steve, the whole time, was completely focused on getting the right sound. He was completely adamant he was going to get the right sound. And we booked a restaurant down the road, but we didn't even make it to the restaurant because the sound check overran. So I had to organize some food, go to this pub and say, "Please, can I take the food and bring the plates back tomorrow," or something? Is that one of those kind of nights? So brought these burgers back to the dressing room. And I remember sitting with Steve, and he had one bite of this burger, and then he put it down, and he sort of turned to me and he said, "The gig will go right if everything sounds right." He said, "I wasn't going to leave that sound check unless everything was right." And I said, yeah. And he said, "Seriously, that is the key to everything. It's got to sound good up there. And I said, man, yeah, absolutely. And he said, yeah, I won't leave until it sounds good. Just completely focused on it being the best it could be, so he could perform the best and the music would sound as good as it could. And I thought, wow, that's big. He's not just he's not messing around. He's here to work, and he's here to do his job, and he's serving the music. And he wants everybody to have a good time. So they did the gig, and I managed to sit right behind the kit. I was literally right behind the drums, got to watch him, which was a treat. And so he did 2 sets, and during the break after the first set, I saw him have another bite of the burger he'd left on the side. And then I'd got him a coffee, and he had a coffee. And we had a chat. He gave me a pair of sticks as well, which was cool, which I've still got. And then and then they did the second half, and Steve played this solo. It's on YouTube. You can see it. I posted it on our story on Instagram earlier, and you can actually see me in the background. The solo is just incredible, so good. And he played great all night, as he always does. He's the perfect. He's the master. The masters understand the art of performance. They can draw you in. They know how to build a set. And he's the master at that, I think. So they did the gig. They did 2 sets, and it finished about, I don't know, 10:45, something like that. And of course, it was a lot of drummers there, because I know a lot of drummers. We promoted to a lot of drummers, and Steve agreed that he would sign some stuff after the gig. So we did the gig. We did the second set, and he said, "Oh, is everyone going to be out in the foyer?" I said, "Yeah, let's go up." And so I went up with him. And there was a queue of, it was like everybody who was there wanted something signed. There was over 300 people, maybe 360 people, and the queue was just insane. And everybody was having their thing signed. People had old sort of One Trick Pony, Paul Simon records, all this kind of thing. Everyone's getting it signed. And must have been there till probably about 1 a.m., And he's just signing stuff. And I'm thinking, wow, he's had like a hell of a day. He's done all this traveling for the week, and now he's doing this until 1 a.m. Oh my God, he must be knackered. And he's, he was 75 then, 74, something like that. And thinking, wow, that's incredible. I wish I could do that when I'm his age. But anyway, so he finally finished signing some loads of stuff, and I said, "Hey, Steve, shall I get you back to the hotel?" And he said, yeah, okay. Let's get back to the hotel. And Dan Hemmer, the organ player, also jumped in the car with us. So it was me driving. Dan Hemmer was in the passenger seat, and then Steve Gadd was sat in the back of the car. Which is surreal to say that, but it's true. And so anyway, the pressure comes again. Which anytime I have a drummer in my car, I admire a lot. I think, well, what am I going to play in the car? What music am I going to play him? And I'd already treated him to some Grady Tate that day, which he enjoyed, and with Jimmy McGriff, which he loved, But then I thought, well, it's pretty late, he's pretty tired. So one of my go-to records is Hank Mobley, Soul Station, which is an incredible record. And if you haven't heard it, check it out. So I put that on straight away, and immediately Steve perked up. He said, "I haven't heard this. What's this?" As I won't try and imitate his voice, but what's this? I haven't heard this. I said, "Oh, you haven't heard you don't know this one?" He said, "No. What is it? This is amazing. What is it?" I said, "Oh, it's Hank Mobley's Soul Station." He said, "Is that Art Blakey?" I said, "Yeah, it's Art Blakey." He said, wow, this is something else. And then hotel was very near the gig, so we pulled up at the hotel, and I got out of the car, and Dan Hemmer got out of the car, and we shut the door. The music was still playing until you lock the car. The music still plays in my car, my old car. And then Steve didn't get out of the car. And so I'm like, oh, he's not getting out. And Dan said, "Oh, I'm going to go in." I said, "All right, see you, Dan." And then I thought, well, I'll get back in the car. So I got back in the car, and Steve he had his elbows on the 2 seats. He was in the middle of the car, and he had his elbows on the 2 seats, and he's just staring at the center console in the car, and he's going, man, this is the shit. This is the shit, like that. And he said, this is incredible music. I haven't heard this. What is it? This is Hank Mobley, you say? Yeah, yeah. It's Art Blakey, yeah. And I said, yeah. And I turned around and I said, yeah, this is what it's about, isn't it? And he said, yeah, absolutely. And we sat there for 2 tracks. We sat in there for about 10 minutes listening to a couple of tracks. And he said, I'm going to buy this tonight. And then he said, what else have you got? And I said, well, I've got loads of things I could play. Have you heard Wynton Kelly Trio with Philly Joe Jones? He said, no, I haven't heard that. So I put that on. And yeah, and Philly Joe plays this great solo, and you got to hear that record too. It's incredible. And he said, oh man, what else have you got? And I played him something, I can't remember what I played him. I played something else. He said, man, so we sat there in the car for probably half an hour, and he was just hands on the headrest. And it was an incredible time, and I suddenly thought to myself, well, he is just completely, all about the music. There's nothing else that matters to him. He's all about the music, and he's a constant student of what he's doing. He's constantly curious, even after all he's done, after everything he's done, all the music he's played on, he's still trying to find out more and trying to listen and learn, which was a real lesson for me to watch someone as great as that reacting the way he was. And then he said to me, can you write these down? Can you come into the hotel and write these down? I said, yeah, sure. So he jumped out and gave me he asked the receptionist in the hotel for a piece of paper, and I wrote all these records down for him. And he said, I'm going to buy these tonight. And I was like, wow. And he said, yeah, see you soon. All right. I hugged him and then we left, sort of thing. And yeah, it was a real lesson, like I say, and I think that's a great story and a great insight. If anyone's never kind of got to meet him in person like that, how focused he was, firstly on doing the job at the gig, nothing else mattered but the sound, and then after the gig realizing how still in the game he was about learning more and trying to find out and discover more music, which is what it's all about, and then the other story as well, a Gadd story before I go. We did the hang with him, the first hang, and at the hang, like I said, he was in his garage and he was playing on this block of wood, and everybody was there at the drum hangs. There's a lot of professional drummers and everyone's got their setups in the background, and Steve Gadd just in a garage, with a block of wood, and he's going, oh man, I've got stuff everywhere, and it was so cool, and the way, there's a few photos if you go on the drum hangs, Instagram and stuff, photos, just the way the light was shining on him and stuff. It was so sort of cinematic, the whole thing, it was a really cool thing. And throughout the hang, he was demonstrating lots of flam things because he was just writing the book, the Gaddaments book, which is, you should buy that, it's on Hudson Music. And he'd given us a handout, handwritten thing as well on a PDF that he'd given us. And he said, I'm writing this book, it's coming out soon. Wow, great, amazing. And, he's demonstrating all these flam things and he's doing this thing. And then we said to him, because Neil had just bought the Klaus Hessler book, which is fantastic as well. And it has all this European rudimental things. And he said, Steve, have you seen this book by Klaus Hessler? And Steve says, no, I haven't seen that. What is that? Neil's showing him all these exercises. Oh, there's a lot of, sort of 5 things and all this sort of things. Oh, wow, oh, well, let me see that. Let me see. He was trying to work it out on the call, And then, so as we'd been talking about it a lot, and we had such a great time with him. And like I say, it was a who's who of drummers there, name a drummer you like, they were probably at that hang, and it was something very special. I'll never forget it. And yeah, I get asked, have you got a recording? I say, no, we don't record anything, And for me, it's all about being in the moment and supporting the drummers with actual paid work as well, and it's they should be paid for their time. But anyway, so he's he's going, what's this Klaus Hessler book? So we left the hang, and afterwards I thought, right, I'm going to buy him this Klaus Hessler book and I'm going to get it sent to his house, So I went straight onto Amazon, ordered it, sent to his house, and then the next day it was weird because I was actually at the time, And another reason why Klaus was in our minds is we were organising a workshop with him, which he was going to do, and I was in contact with him at the time. You see, and the next morning, after I'd ordered the book, literally, I got the email confirmation from Amazon, and about 2 minutes after that, and because I was dealing with so many of these drummers, we did about 120 events in 18 months or something. I was dealing with all of the drummers I loved, all my favorite drummers, and quite often these funny coincidences would happen. And this was one of those, and the Amazon confirmation came in, and then literally 2 minutes after that, there was an email from Klaus Hessler. And Klaus said, he won't mind me telling you this. Klaus said, "Oh my God, Russ, I just got off the phone with Steve Gadd. He wants my books. Wow," kind of thing. And I said, "Klaus, you won't believe this. I've literally this minute just ordered these books and sent to his house." He said, "Yeah, he's getting a package from me too." And again, this thing of Steve Gadd being so hungry desperate to know and find out and speak to Klaus Hessler straight away, straight after he got off the drum hang, which he was with us for 3 hours talking about drums, and playing. I mean, again, that's what it's all about: being hungry and wanting to know more. And he never rests on his laurels, And like I always say, bears eat honey, and a bear is a bear, So, and Steve Gadd was born to do it, He really was, and still hungry. And man, you're our hero. So thank you, Steve Gadd, and happy birthday. And I hope you enjoyed those stories. Hopefully it gives you a bit of an insight. And like I say, I'm not, I don't know him well, only through the drum hangs, all that kind of thing. But yeah, the interaction I've had with him just made me realize, well, this is why he's the greatest. And this is why he'll always be sensei. And as I said earlier, we get a few Instagram things where I share a thing with Steve Gadd and people go, "Oh, there's more to drumming than Steve Gadd." It's like, oh my God, you don't get it. You know what I mean? So anyway, but there you go. One of those things. All right. Well, have a good evening and join me tomorrow. I'll be talking to Ralph Roll, who plays with Nile Rodgers and Chic, which is going to be really exciting. So 5 p.m. I'll put it on Instagram, but you won't be able to see him on Instagram because we're going to do it on YouTube and Facebook. And sorry if I'm looking at two different cameras, but that's what it is. But this is all going to go on the Drum Hangs podcast. So follow us on Podbean or Spotify or Apple Music or Amazon or all of those platforms, Google Podcasts, wherever you dine, wherever you dine, listen. To me talking about drums, I guess. But yeah, I've been very quiet, and because we got a baby in the house, baby Ronnie, born last month. I can't believe the time is flying, and it's just been manic. So I shouldn't be doing this because I'm absolutely running on fumes, but very tired. But yeah, working hard and looking after him. But yeah, planning, like I say, to get more people on the podcast and build it up. So yeah, thanks for joining me tonight, and hopefully see you tomorrow with Ralph Roll. Okay. All right. See you later. Sorry, I'm blind, so I need to work out the redness.